Only 50 miles of the Bering Sea divide the United States from the Soviet Union. But for decades, the two superpowers have been separated by much more than frigid water. In this harsh, forbidding region, Americans and Russians are trying to overcome a legacy of mistrust and bridge this icy gap.
Thank you. I come to Russia sometime. Someone show me around, maybe. Okay.
This is Dutch Harbor, Alaska. Once an outpost of the Russian Empire, now the gateway to a multi-million-dollar partnership between American and Soviet fishermen.
Меня зовут Kurt. My name is Alexander. Alexander?
But the ocean's harvest may not be the venture's greatest treasure. Nowhere else do so many Soviet and American workers share the toil and the pleasure of their everyday lives. On a raw Dutch harbor morning, the crew of the Golden Pride prepares to meet the Soviet fleet. Their captain is Steve Bond.
Anyway, everybody says their goodbyes. 6 weeks to 2 months, then everybody comes back in. Gonna miss you.
Oh, I'm gonna miss you too, honey. I sure wish you could have stayed in longer.
5 more weeks, and then it's our turn.
I'll be counting the days.
Okay, bye. Love ya.
I love you too, and don't forget to brush your teeth.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Just about everybody out here has a love for the sea that, I don't know if you'd call it special or weird breed of people that go to sea and fish in small boats. There's a common bond between all fishermen. The Russians go through the exact same things we do and think the same things and have the same dreams.
2 days and 300 miles from Dutch Harbor, Steve Bond and his men approach the Soviet flotilla. Along with 40 other American crews, they will catch millions of pounds of yellowfin sole.
Dalniy Vostok, Golden Pride. This is Steve.
How is the fishing?
Dober bien.
The fish will be picked up by Soviet shuttle ships like these and transferred to a floating cannery where it will be processed for shipment to Russia. Somehow this unlikely hybrid of free enterprise and communism has prospered in American waters. And that quintessential individualist, the American fisherman, has learned to work with collectives of Soviet sailors.
Work is just work. It doesn't matter if you are a Russian or American fisherman. When we see them, we wave and say hello. They're good guys and good workers.
The people are really nice. No trouble getting along with the people. It's the governments that are having problems. Keep your balls to the outside, right? Try to keep the web off. If it wasn't the joint venture, we'd have to be putting the fish on board. Then we have to take it back in. And since we're like 30 hours away from land, that wouldn't be very lucrative for us.
Every time we go aboard their ships, they all approach us and ask us if we're making our fortunes. And they can't believe the amount of money that we make compared to what they make.
$7,000 to $10,000, $12,000 a month. That's for crewmen, yeah. I'm glad I'm in the capitalist side of it, not the communist side of it. Those guys are maybe making $600 a month.
Stan. Michael. You want to offload before we offload?
Roger. Try to get that one ribline pushed off that high spot there, Rob.
As soon as the Americans haul in their catch, a Soviet shuttle ship comes out to retrieve it.
What's it look like over there? When are you going to haul back?
Mike Jones, a Russian-speaking American, is stationed on the shuttle. Without his translations, this meeting at sea would be nearly impossible.
Are you guys halfway close?
Yeah, we got you off our port bow.
Okay, yeah, we should be ready in about 20 minutes.
Okay, 20 minutes.
Do see it? No, that's not the one I want. Dobre Ultra.
Dobre Ultra.
Okay, do zjazim.
Do zjazim.
You want to transfer this? Looks like around half a bag.
Okay, full transfer. Ready.
Okay. Okay, we disconnected this bag from the net. This bag has a fish in it. We're going to pass over to the Russians.
The Russians love to trade, barter. Their only thing that they really have to trade is fur hats. So all the American fishermen that fish with the Russians have fur hats. Levi's are hot items. It is illegal in Russia for these guys to barter, so we give them a gift and they give us a gift back.
As his men prepare to transfer the fish, Steve greets the shuttle with a blast from Star Wars. Not the military version, but the musical theme.
One, because it makes us feel good, and two, because it makes them feel good. They love music. We played music 24 hours a day over one of the VHF channels because we were cod fishing. We were a radio station, KOD, coming live and direct from the Bering Sea.
By mutual agreement, the Soviets may only process fish with little market value in America. James Brister, a U.S. fisheries observer, makes sure that everything else is thrown back in the sea. But the real challenge for this native of Texas is living for months with a shipload of Soviet sailors.
Definitely different. It's not like working 9 to 5 or anything. It's more than a job. I mean, you live here. There's no way to go to McDonald's.
For James, life without American hamburgers is sweetened by a taste of Russian sauerkraut, the specialty of his new friend, Sergei Stepanovich.
Take a look at James here. Did you see how carefully he was keeping track of the fish? He really takes his job seriously, and he puts his heart into his work. And as a sailor, I like that. But if he slacked off and said,
I sleep.
"Let me sleep, I don't want to work," I'd say, "You're just a bum." But no, he is really a good man.
I think we should have friendships like these in many other areas.
Victor Tomlin is the captain of the Soviet shuttle ship.
Then the people of our nations will get a lot closer and will understand each other much better. Now there is a dialogue over old problems like disarmament, but I don't think politicians always understand each other. Fishermen can understand each other very well.
You can get down to fundamentals with them, have frank conversation, and still remain friends, and not have to be hostile. We've talked about Afghanistan, the war in Vietnam, differences in the way people work in the United States and the Soviet Union.
Well, of course, the American fishermen are making a lot more money than we do, but nobody complains about that. Because here, the Soviet fishermen are making 2 or 3 times more than a regular worker back home.
They accept your system for what your system is, and you accept their system for what their system is, and it comes out that you end up with a better appreciation.
In work, there are no political systems. I mean, in work, there is no difference.
But there is a difference. When a cable snaps aboard the Golden Pride, Steve Bond comes close to losing a small fortune. It's the kind of risk no Russian sailor ever faces.
Down!
We were lucky. Usually when you get something heavy, breaks one side, doubles the load on the other side. You lose your net, and then you got to grapple for the net. Once you grapple it, you can't get it off the bottom, and you just have to leave it there. We would have had to go to town to get another net. We would have lost about $60,000 to $100,000 altogether. When they have to go home, they get excited. They don't worry about it. When we have to go home, it's our bread and butter. This is just, this is fishing.
Despite these economic differences, Soviets and Americans alike are bound together by their love of the sea, a calling many sailors trace to childhood.
When I was a kid, they gave me so many baths, I just got addicted to water. So I grew up thinking of the sea and my grandfather's stories of his voyages around the world. Once an idea takes hold of your imagination, you can't shake it off. So I said to myself, I'll go to sea. And I went.
The sea? How is it that I ended up working here? Because when I was a boy, the ocean looked so amazing when I saw it in the movies.
It began romantically, but later it got lonely. I have kids, you know. My youngest daughter is already 11 years old. It would be nice to talk to her.
The trollmaster is gonna try calling home now.
I am trying. Nobody is answering. Maybe they're not home.
I see. Well, they must have gone to the country.
Hundreds of miles may separate these sailors from home, but the Soviet crewmen do not lack companionship. This is the Dalniy Vostok, a floating factory where the Soviets process the American catch. On board, 500 men and women do their best to lead a normal life.
How is it that we don't feel somehow cut off from civilization on this floating island of ours? We have everything we need to live a comfortable life here. There's always a meal waiting for you here, place to sleep, good library, and dances at night. No, it's not boring here. It seems to me, if you are satisfied with your job, then your life will be interesting. It's the same for us as for the Americans, because I guess it's work that makes a person. The dream of my life? I'd like to see my son grow up and be a brave man, maybe even have grandchildren. But for every mother that dreams of a future for her son, the most important thing is peace, because without that, none of our dreams can be realized.
We all like to eat canned fish. And so do our families back home. Somebody has to fulfill the plan, so we come here to work. Then we go home for 6 months. You should come and visit us. I'd love to show you around. America? I've never been there, but I'd love to go. It's too bad we're working here for such a short time. Otherwise, we would all love to see your country.
One Soviet crew did have that opportunity when their ship stopped in Alaska before heading home. For them, this visit would provide a window on a culture very different from their own.
America? Who's all United States citizens here? Okay, all you U.S. citizens, I want to see your passports right now. I don't have time to clear you for customs purposes. You'll have to stand by until we get through with the vessel.
So turn it around like this and hold it. We just feel that it's a really good experience for the children to see other nationalities, and they seem to be one of the most interesting and mysterious, so we thought it would be kind of fun, and we like to show them that we're a peaceful, friendly community.
You're the factory manager? I'm Howard.
Он из Golden Tribe. He remembers you.
Okay.
Howard Malcolm, a crewman on shore leave from the Golden Pride, hired a van to ferry the Soviets around Dutch Harbor.
When they come to town, I think that we should show them how we live. And I think that goes right along with the joint venture operation that we have out there, that turnaround is fair play.
When the Soviets got Howard for a tour guide, they got much more than they bargained for.
And Dutch Harbor is only the bay that your guys' boat is laying out in out there.
And as Howard tried to tell his guests, a visit by the Russians often causes great confusion.
The red salmon were running. So I came home and I said, well, we can either go out on the other side of Hog Island to catch these rockfish, or we could go over to Whistler to get some reds. And my father-in-law says, I'd like to go see the Russians. And I go, well, they're not in town. And he goes, well, what was this about the reds out at Whistler? And I said, oh, I go, that's sockeye salmon. It is a pretty funny situation.
He ran out of gas.
Well, the gas gauge has always been busted on this. It's stuck on empty. And it was supposed to be filled full when I got it for today. So this is another experience in the life in the Aleutians where nothing ever goes as planned. So I don't know if you can understand. I need an interpreter here. But. Hold it. Everyone's jumping out. Another day in Dutch.
Just give me a chance.
We want to hear this radio from battery.
Okay. It's fun to have Russians because of all the political intonation, but it's also not unusual to have them. They visit about once a month. I just wish I knew more languages. 120, 40, 145. $2.90 tax. Okay, then I give you $12.10.
Thank you.
American life may puzzle these Soviet visitors, but Dutch Harbor is full of signs that this was once a Russian port. And these graves are a quiet reminder that Russia and America once shared a common ground. In an age of superpower confrontation, the United States and the Soviet Union are still worlds apart. But the fishermen who work the Bering Sea are finding ways to overcome their differences. As Steve Bond rows out to the factory ship for the last time this year, he knows his friendships will endure, because no ties are stronger than those nurtured by an unpredictable sea.
We came here to process fish, and the first fish caught for us was by the captain of the Golden Pride, Steve Bond.
This is definitely different. I've never ran across the dance floor with an egg on a spoon before.
And the Russians' propaganda says that we're decadent, imperialistic capitalists. They know that our propaganda isn't like it is, and they know that their propaganda isn't like it really is. Most of them could care less about world dominance or ideology. best thing going between the two countries is let the people together. Let them see how we really are. Let us see how they really are.
Shoot.